Good morning, children. Let us continue the second chapter, the rise and the growth of the company power. Yes, in the last video we have learnt about the civil administration. Okay, so today we are going to learn about the judicial administration and army and the police. Yes, these are the three pillars of the British rule in India. Okay, let's start with the judicial administration. So before starting this, let me give you introduction about the judicial administration. What do you mean by that? Yes, judicial administration means the practices, procedures and offices that deals with the management of the administrative system of the courts. I repeat once again, the judicial administration means the practices, procedures and offices that deals with the management of the administrative system of the courts, or in other words we can say the administration of the courts. Okay, so this is about judicial administration. So during the British rule, how was the judicial administration? So let's know about that now. First, in the year of 1772, the Warren Hastings, the first Governor General of India, he introduced judicial administration in the country. Okay. So in 1772, Warren Hastings, the first Governor General of India, he introduced judicial reforms in India. So according to him, each district have two courts. Those are Diwani Adalat, which was known as civil court, and one more is Fauzdari Adalat, which means criminal courts. So in this way, each district have two courts. One is civil court and one is criminal court, which were known as a different names such as Diwani Adalat and the Fauzdari Adalat. So at present, we have 672 district courts in our country. Okay, the civil court, it was the highest court in a district. It was headed by the district collector. It means district collector was the head of the civil court. Okay, and this criminal court was headed by the officers who were appointed by the Indian they were the Indian officers who were appointed by the company. Okay, and they were assisted by the muftis and the qazis. I will repeat once again. Each district have two courts. They were Diwani Adalat and Fauzdari Adalat. Diwani Adalat will be headed by the district collector, and Fauzdari Adalat will be headed by the officers, Indian officers who were appointed by the company, and they were assisted by the muftis and qazis. Okay, so the civil court is the highest court in a district. It exercises both judicial and the administrative powers. That is, this is the civil court who have the power to exercise both judicial and administrative powers. Means they have the right to take the decisions on the basis of the judgment. So Warren Hastings divided the judicial system into two courts, which I have explained now. Okay, so above these all, Supreme Court was set up. Then below this, High Court was set up. Okay, for each presidency. Presidency, as I said earlier, the administrative centers of the British during the colonial period. Okay, so three presidencies. Which are they? Bombay, Madras, and Bengal. These were the three presidencies. So each have their high courts. Okay. So a major problem faced here was that there was no unification in the law. Means there were variations in the law which were formed by these courts. Means laws were different for the basis of the religions. So different law existed according to the religion of the criminal. If he is Hindu, different laws were applied. If he is Muslim, various types of laws were applied. So there was a verification, or we can say there were variations in the laws formed by these courts. So for this problem, to find a solution for this problem, in 1833, a law commission was appointed. Okay. This was appointed to finalize and to write down the notes, or we can say, or note down the laws made by the courts. That is called as a law commission. Okay, and it along with this, the Indian Penal Code was compiled. It means put together. All laws were put together, and system of one law existed. So after when this Indian Penal Code was established, they made unification in the laws. They made the same laws for everyone in the country. That is, one law for all. This system was existed during this period. I do it once again. The one law for all. It means the one uniform law was applied for everyone in the country. That is the Indians and the Britishers in the matter of jurisdiction or in the form of suggestion, or we can say in the form of judgment. Okay, this is all about the judicial administration. So next we are going to learn about the army forces. How were they during colonial period in the time of Britishers? Okay, so till now we have learned about the judicial administration which was organized by the Britishers. Okay, that is Warren Hastings. Now we learn about the army system and the police system. Okay, so army. Why they require the army? Yes, in order to have a sound administration of the Britishers, they organized an efficient army. Okay, so these are the main goals why they require the army. Yes, the army was also required to check the foreign invasion and even rewards by the rulers of the Indian. We can say Indian rulers. Okay, and expansion of the territories and peaceful maintenance of the trading activities of Britishers. They need a strong army in our country. So the army consisted of the mainly Indian soldiers who had the role of the rank of Subedar. All the highest rank were reserved only for the Britishers. In this way, they also gave the importance to the infantry. Yes, to the infantry means the soldier who fight on the foots. This is also kind of army. Okay, that is infantry. Soldiers were trained in the European method, or we can say the European methods of warfare, because this was because the British power in India rested on the military power. The British army had to keep a pace with the changing development in the warfare technology. So in this way they started to train the soldiers in the European method of warfare. Okay, so the army officers in Bengal, they had the highest salary, or we can say they were paid more on the counterpart of the soldiers who work in the presidencies of Bombay and Madras. Okay, this is all about the administration of army. Next we learn about the police system. Police system, it was introduced by Lord Cornwallis, or the Governor General of India, Lord Cornwallis, who introduced the Indian Civil Services, that is ICS, in the year 1786. Okay, so according to him, in 1792, each district was divided at different levels. First district, that is each district had the thanas, that is police station we call today, and this was looked after by the daroga. Okay, next the towns here, it will be looked after by the kotwals, and the villages which were guarded by the chowkidars. So this was a police system which was organized by the Lord Cornwallis. Okay, so this was police system which was introduced by Lord Cornwallis in 1792. Daroga was the head of the thana or police station in a district, and he was assisted by the policemen in the maintenance of the law and order in the district. Daroga were usually Indians. As I said, all the posts were given to the Indian people, but highest ranks were only held for the Britishers. Darogas of the various police stations used to work under the district superintendent. As I see, these all district superintendent was the head in the police administration in a district, generally a British person. He will be a British person. And as I said, the chowkidars will look after the village, then kotwals will look after the towns, and thanas will be looked after by the policemen. Okay, so the main functions of the police were to maintain the law and order in the district, then protection from the thugs, thieves, dacoits, and ensuring of the highways, or we can say securing of the highways. These were the functions which has to be done by the police during the colonization. But police often resorted to the violence, corruption, and bribery. That is taking the something gift or some cash from the other people. Okay. Often it became a justice for the people. They started to they were afraid of going to the police station to give any complaints. So it tortured and killed people in the name of maintaining peace in the district. Lack of education, poor salaries, and an absence of the privileges as compared to the British soldiers were the main factors which was responsible for the conduct of the police. Okay, so here we have completed this chapter. I hope you have understood. Thank you everyone. Have a great day ahead.